Hi friends, I hope you're doing well. Today we are going to be doing something really fun. I wanted to start doing a few one brand tutorials. I feel like when you use an entire line from one brand, you really get to see the overall aesthetic of the brand, and also I get to finally talk through more in depth about my favorite products from the brand and all of that. So today we're doing a full face of Makeup by Mario. Mario Dedivanovic is one of my all-time favorite makeup artists. I've actually been to two of his master classes before, one in Toronto, one in LA. This was years ago. This was before he had his own makeup line, but I have been a huge fan for years. Then of course he launched his makeup line and I have kept up with the brand and I've purchased so much of it myself. Like when I was prepping for this video, I was like, oh my gosh, I have basically everything that he's ever launched. So we're gonna do a full face of Makeup by Mario products. You guys know how much I love so many of his products already, but I've never sat down to do a full face because I feel like it wasn't until maybe recently or more recently that he's had things like setting powder, setting spray, all the things to work with. He also has like so many different bronzer formulas, so I'll try to use as many as possible, but I'm mostly gonna stick to my core favorites and I cannot wait to see how this look turns out. We're also going to be doing a wear test today so you can see how everything performs all together. Without further ado, let's get into it. So we don't have a primer yet from Makeup by Mario, but if there's one thing I learned from his master classes, he always starts out with brows and eyes. So that's my plan today. I'm going to start off with the Master Blade Brow Pencil, and this one is in the shade Classic Brunette. It's been a long time since I've used this. I'm going to try to warm it up a bit. I'm going to brush up the brows using the spoolie on the other side, and then let's start filling in the brows. This is probably expired. It's going on if I build it up. We're making it work. I feel like his brow pencils are good, but they're definitely not my favorite from the lineup. Obviously, this is probably not performing as well as it did when it was a fresh product, but it's rare that I reach for his brow pencil. I actually really love the brow gel though, which we'll get to a little later. Okay, I've been sitting here for a long time. I feel like this is as good as it's gonna get for now. Let's go ahead and do a bit of concealer on the eyes. So this is also from Makeup by Mario. I actually kind of forgot that he had a concealer. That's totally my bad. I love the Surrealskin foundation and I don't know why I haven't really given his concealer a fair shot, but I haven't. So I've had this for a while, I just haven't used it in a minute. So I'm gonna use this to prime the eyelids because if there's something I remember from the class as well, he always primes the lids with a bit of concealer and shapes out the brows. I probably need a more precise brush for this. I might grab in just a second, but I'm just gonna kind of work my way around the brows with this concealer. And then I'm just pressing everything in with sponge. Okay, I'm really not loving how the brows are building up, so I am going to cheat ever so slightly and take a little bit of my Revi brow pencil just to properly fill in the brows. I just don't want the brows to ruin the rest of the look, so I'm just going to try to trace out just the edges so it's mostly Mario. But I feel like if I don't get the brows looking good, the rest of the makeup's not going to look good, and we can't have that. I should also say I really love the aesthetic of Mario's brand. It's all very black and white. It feels very classic and timeless, which I feel like his aesthetic is, and it just feels very Mario to me. Okay, typically he would take a bit of setting powder over the concealer, which I guess I could do just a tiny bit. And then I think I'm gonna use, I'm gonna switch things up a little bit, and I'm gonna use the newest product from Mario right now. Their Master Matte's Longwear Cream Eyeshadow. And I'm going to use this as my base for now. And I'm going to use the shade Sandstone today because it's the lightest one that I own. I'm actually planning on picking up more of these. I really love these. But I'm going to go ahead and take Sandstone. And because these kind of act as an eye primer, I'm not going to set the eyelids with powder prior because I feel like this is going to do the trick. So I'm going to go ahead and layer this all over the lid. And you can see it's just a slightly deeper shade than my natural skin tone, so it does give a little bit of a contoured effect, but it's super subtle. He actually has quite a few double-ended eye brushes. I don't own the eye brushes. I own a couple of his face brushes, which I will use today. If you guys have tried the eye brushes, are they worth it? I feel like his brushes are really good. At least the face brushes are. Okay. I feel like Mario always does the most incredible eyeshadow looks. So I'm going to play with a couple of the eyeshadow palettes. I'm going to dip into, I think, this Ethereal Eyes Moonlight palette, as well as my personal favorite, the Master Mattes The Neutrals palette. Now, my favorite ever is the Ethereal Eyes palette, the original one that is not around anymore. My hope is that they are reworking this maybe into that newer packaging, and I hope they'll bring it back. But I'm not going to use this one because it's not available. But it does look like the other one is still available, at least on his website, the Moonlight one. So we'll dip into this as well as the Master Mattes Neutrals palette. Now, let's start off with this shade right here, third shade in from the top row, and I'm just going to start to kind of sweep this through the crease and a little bit above just to smooth out that transition area. Next, I'm going to go into this shade right here to add a little bit of depth on the outer portion of the lid, and then I'm going to drag that into the crease as well. Also, if you're wondering, did I pick my shirt to match the packaging? I did. I absolutely did. All right, let's hop into the Ethereal Eyes palette. We're going to take this color right here, which is a beautiful kind of smoky mauve, and I'm wanting to kind of add that on this outer portion to further deepen and sculpt out the edge of the eye as well as into the crease a little bit. Now I'm going to warm things up with the warmer brown in this palette. I'm actually going to take the same brush, and I kind of want a little bit of a warm brown smoke right up against the lash line here. Then I'm going to take the lightest shade in that palette, lightest matte shade, and I'm going to kind of carve out eyelid with this and highlight it a bit. Same thing on this side. Okay, I really like how things are looking now. I'm going to go in with the Makeup by Mario eyeliner, and this is in the shade The Perfect Brown. I'm going to take this and go right up against the lash line. It's a really pretty kind of deep brown. And I'm actually going to take a little smudgy brush. Actually, I'm going to mix the black with this brown right here and create a little bit of like a shadowing on top of that liner, just to kind of smudge things out a bit. Okay, next up we're going to choose one of these shimmer shades. Which one though? Maybe the more golden one for today. I don't want this look to be too cool toned because I might use some warmer colors on the cheeks and lips. So we're going to take this golden shimmer shade and start to press this onto the eyelid. And this is where this palette really gets magical, I feel, is with these gorgeous toppers throughout. And I like to bring my toppers kind of into the crease a little bit too, so it's all over the eye instead of just on the lid. All right, now let's go ahead and go into Top Lash Mascara. Now, he recently launched his Master Mascara, and I've only used it a couple of times, you guys. It wore really well on me, but I'm excited to revisit it. I'm gonna kind of go in ham with this mascara on just the top lashes for now, and then we're gonna do like the base makeup, and we will revisit the eyes later. But I like to do this when I do my eyes first, especially if there is any sort of shimmer or glitter on the eyelid. I feel like it just kind of catches any additional fallout as I do my base makeup when I have mascara on. Already? I'm gonna really build this up. That's really pretty. Okay, now I'm gonna take my makeup wipe and brush away and clean up any fallout underneath the eyes, as well as kind of cleaning up the edge of the eyeshadow. Since I wiped that away, I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of moisturizer again. I already had my skincare on, but it's something I learned from Mario in his master classes. He takes his skin prep very seriously. So I'm just going to apply that and kind of let it sink in. And I forgot to apply a bit of lip oil, so I'm gonna put some on just to make sure my lips are nice and prepped before. He doesn't have a lip balm, does he? Did he? Oh my gosh, why do I like feel like he might have, and then did he ever? Let me check, hold on. He has a lip scrub. That's what I was thinking of, but not a balm yet. Let's go into foundation. You guys know how much I love this foundation. This might be one of my favorite Mario products, and I used it religiously for a while, and then it kind of like fell out of my routine, and now I'm back on it fully. It is so good. I'm going to use this Makeup by Mario F1 brush. This is, by the way, the Surrealskin foundation. I wear the shade 2N. The way that this looks on camera specifically, I mean, in person it's gorgeous too. But every time I wear this on camera, it has this really special something to it. And this shade match is perfection for me. So I'm applying this with the F1 brush, just to kind of even out the skin tone. It has a bit of a glow to it, which I really like, and it wears really well on me. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite things from Mario. I'm gonna go ahead and just press all of that in with my sponge. And now I'm gonna do a little bit of contour then concealer. Now Mario has several different bronzing and contour products. One of my all-time favorites for like every day is the Softsculpt Bronzing and Shaping Serum. He is kind of known as the contour king. So I feel like the fact that he has several different formulas, like kind of geared towards several different types of people maybe, or situations, like the occasion might call for a certain type of contour, I think it fits the brand. There's also the Softsculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer, which does not have as much glow and has a bit more coverage than this one. Then we have the Softsculpt Shaping Sticks. Now these are what I love to use for more of a glamorous occasion. There's something about these in pictures too that just, I love. And then he's got his powder bronzers as well. So let's see. Let's do a little combo of a few of them. Actually, should we just do like all of them almost? I'm gonna start off with this one right here. Now this is the Skin Enhancer. Let's do a bit of that. And you know, let's mix it with this one. So we'll combine the two lighter coverage options to create like a little bit of a base. And then I'll use the more pigmented one to really sculpt things after that. I'm just applying this to the forehead. Both of these are very sheer and buildable, which I love. It kind of gives you like that nice baseline sculpt before actually going in with the contour stick, you know? So we're gonna apply this all over along the jawline and down the neck. And we'll put a little on the sides of the nose as well. Next, I'm going to apply the Softsculpt Shaping Stick. I have mine in the shade Fair. This is a much thicker, more pigmented formula. This shade is fabulous. I used to use the shade Light because it's all they had, and then they expanded the shade range and brought in the shade Fair, which is a much better match for me. I love it. So I'm going to apply this more strategically. You can kind of see how it is more pigmented and more on the matte side versus the other ones that have a bit of glow. I'm still gonna add a bit into the hairline as well. Mario's actually the one that first kind of taught me, I guess the whole masterclass, he taught the whole class, about getting the bronzer into the hairline so it's not like floating. And that changed my life forever. I've never not done that ever since taking those classes. And the first class I took from him was in, I think, 2017. It was a long, long time ago. Okay, I'm going to also take that down the sides of the nose. Okay, I'm happy with where everything's at. We're gonna now go back into the concealer from Mario. Again, this is the Surrealskin Awakening Concealer. I use the shade 120. And we're gonna apply this a little further down under the eyes. We're gonna also kind of like reverse sculpt and kind of highlight some of the areas of the face. I'm gonna take the other end of that F1 brush, which has a nice like concealer brush, and I'm going to start using this to blend that concealer up and out, and also a little bit into the sides of the nose to further sculpt things. And then I'm just taking my sponge and making sure the bronzer slash contour slash concealer are all meshed together really nicely. I'm gently going back over the contoured areas with what's left on the contour brush, just so that the blend is seamless. Now, before we set with powder, I do want to go in with a bit of a cream blush. He also has two different cream blush formulas. One is the Soft Pop Blush Sticks. I love the shade Pale Petal in this one. Then there's also really gorgeous Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veils, which I bought 3 shades of. This one's a really, really pretty one. Perfect Pink. I also have Fairly Blushing, which is a really nice, like kind of nude color. I also have Pinch Me Pink, which is a warmer pink. After holding these up, I'm almost feeling like Perfect Pink might be what I want to use today. So I'm going to take this on another Mario brush. I actually don't know what this one's called. And I'm going to just tap this into the cheeks. And we will use powder blushes later, but I'm trying to do all my creams before we set the face with any powders. So these are such a beautiful cream blush, and it leaves the most beautiful glow. You can apply these after powders as well for like a dewier finish. They're just so gorgeous though. Whether you want to use them under powder or over, you really can't go wrong with this formula. This is also another great one from the line. Okay, taking my sponge around the edges of that and just pressing things down. Then we're gonna go into one of my current favorite products, which is the Surrealskin Soft Blur Setting Powder. This is one of my current favorites from Mario, but also in general right now. It's so good. So we're gonna use powder to set the face. And I feel like Mario is actually, like, his classes got me really into powder. I sort of was into it before, but the way he strategically used powder in his class also changed my life forever. And I feel like that's why I love powder so much, because he just proved that not only does it obviously help with longevity, but it really helps with the overall end result and being able to like sculpt and bake slightly, all the things. So I'm just taking this and tapping it underneath the eyes. You guys know I love to focus my powder in the T-zone. I feel like people get afraid of powder because they think that it's gonna like forever mattify their face, but I feel like when you use this many creams and skin prep, it actually melts down into like your foundation and concealer and cream products. And then as your natural warmth and oils come through from your skin, it like freshens up and doesn't look dusty. You know what I mean? I can't live without a loose powder. It is an everyday staple for me. I'm also gonna take a little bit of that and just apply it to the outside of the face, because we are gonna go in with other powder products and I don't want things to skip around. So this ensures like a seamless blend. I also have the Mario Puff, which I love. I'm gonna use this today for extra Mario-ness in my look. I'm just gonna put some of that same powder onto the puff, and I'm going to kind of lightly bake underneath the eyes and onto the sides of the nose a little bit, very, very lightly. I personally don't do makeup baking. I bake a lot. I make cookies a lot, but I don't do a lot of makeup baking. But for this video, I really want to do a little because Mario does do some. I'm also going to take some of that underneath the jawline a bit, just to like clean up that line too, before we go into our powders. Okay, so after we do a little baking, while that sets, let's revisit the eye area. We're gonna do the lower lash line, and we're gonna take the Ethereal Eyes Moonlight palette. And I'm gonna take this color right here, which is a gorgeous kind of taupe, and we're gonna start to smoke out that lower lash line and then kind of connect it to the existing shadows on the top lid. Same thing over here. And then I'm gonna take another brush and go into that kind of taupey mauve. And I'm gonna really scribble this right up against that lash line for a little extra smokiness. Then I'm gonna go in with that warm brown on the same brush, focusing this one on the outer third of that lower lash line, like really scribbling it into the lashes themselves. And then let's do a little bit more of that brown eyeliner. I'm gonna warm it up on the back of my hand first. And then we're actually gonna pop that in the waterline. I'm gonna do a little bit of a smokier look than usual, than my usual day-to-day, I should say. I'm just really wanting the aesthetic of this look to kind of match the brand. And I feel like as I do more one brand tutorials, that's gonna kind of be the energy. So I will try to create looks that fit the aesthetic of the brand. So to me, in my world, even though I use a lot of Mario's products on like an everyday basis for a lot less glam looks, when I think makeup by Mario, I think glam and sculpted, but in like a natural way, you know? So we're gonna go back in with that mascara, and I did dust away that powder first underneath the eyes. I'm just applying this to the lower lashes. Okay, the lower lashes are beefy today, but I actually really like it. I feel like when I think about the makeup looks that Mario does, especially on like Kim Kardashian or some of those classic ones, I feel like the lower lash mascara is always part of it, at least in some of those like classic looks, you know? So we're gonna keep the lower lashes beefy today in honor of those. Let's revisit the complexion now. We're gonna jump into the Softsculpt bronzer. Now, I'm a little confused by this. I don't know if he's phasing out the Softsculpt bronzer because he also has the Softsculpt blurring bronzer. So maybe it's going to replace the other one. I don't really know. I'm gonna layer them because I can. And I'm gonna take the original, the Softsculpt bronzer. I haven't checked if he still has this or not. This is one of my favorite products though. In the shade Light, and we're gonna just kind of add powders over the creams. I want this look complexion-wise to be very sculpted, very Mario-esque, which means layers of lots of bronzers. I'm also gonna take a bit of the newer formula, the Softsculpt blurring bronzer. We're gonna go over that as well, because why not use 4 bronzers? No, did I use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bronzers? Why not use 5 if he has 5 options for us? Now we're gonna do a little bit of powder blush. I have 3 shades that I've collected over time. It's funny because I used to be on PR when they first launched, and then, I don't know, not anymore. So I buy quite a bit of Mario products. I have Mellow Mauve, which is my most used. Then I have Desert Rose, which it looks like I only barely dipped into. Then I have this kind of brighter pink called Poppy Pink. I'm kind of leaning towards these two. Maybe we layer them. Let's start out with Desert Rose. I feel like this shade would be gorgeous kind of toward the backs of the cheeks like this. So we're gonna do that, kind of buff it right here. Then I'm gonna take Mellow Mauve, which is my most used color for Mario. It has a little bit of a shimmer to it, not glitter. It just has a little glow. I'm just going to apply that right here. I feel like I went a little overboard, so I'm just gonna take my powder brush and kind of like smooth that out. Also dusting away that bake finally. And you know what? I kind of want to put a little bit of this Poppy Pink on like the very apples of the cheeks right here. I'm going to sweep a little bit into the eye socket as well. I also do have a highlighter from Mario, which I think I tried like once and I never really wore it again because to me it's just a little bit sparkly. I have the shade Opal, which is a really beautiful like light highlighter. But let's give this a try again because it's been a while. I'm going to take this on a BK Beauty 108 brush onto the high points of the face. This shade is quite icy, so maybe I would need a more like champagne color to wear it more, but we're going to wear it anyway. Yeah, it's pretty glittery. It's really not my favorite. Yeah, I'm remembering why I really only wore it once, because it just has too many visible glitter flecks in it for my personal taste. But some people love that. All right, we're going to do lips. I'm gonna wipe off any foundation that got on the lips. Guys, I spent like an hour trying to find my favorite shade of my Mario lip liners, which is smoky pink, and I couldn't for the life of me. It's gotta be hiding in a purse somewhere, and I even looked in like all my purses. So I don't know what purse it's hiding in because most of them are empty. I try to take out my lip liners so I don't lose them like this, but luckily I do have 4 others that I've purchased over the years. I have Toasty, Travis, Hue, and Tan. And honestly, I feel like the shade Hue is one of my faves. It also has like a little bit of a mauve-y undertone. So this is what I'm going to use. Now back in 2017 when I went to Mario's masterclass, I learned how to overline the lips because of him. And he always, I think he refers to this as his lip lift technique. So he'll overline just the Cupid's bow and then bring it down into the natural lip line. And he'll also overline the lower lip as well and then reconnect everything. Okay, I might mix a couple. Kind of want to mix in, let's do a bit of Toasty because it's got like a little more of a brown undertone. So I'm gonna kind of shade in the outer corners of the lips with this. The way I wish I had smoky pink. I love that color. It's gonna drive me crazy. I'm probably gonna spend the whole weekend trying to find smoky pink. Now that we've got that on, I'm gonna take a bit of my powder brush. You know, I'm taking what's left and kind of setting it so that it stays a bit longer. Then lipstick. I have a few that I love from Mario. He has like a matte formula and then a more, or ultra suede formula and then a super satin formula. And I have a favorite shade in each. My favorite shade in the super satin lipsticks is South Shore, which is this gorgeous pink. My favorite shade in the ultra suede lipstick is Erin, which is a lot more like mauve. They're so pretty. They're both so pretty. I'm feeling like maybe we do a little bit of Erin first, all over, just a bit. I'm gonna smudge that into the lips, lip liner. Then I'll take a little bit of South Shore and we'll pop that in the center. Because I wanna say it's a little bit lighter. Oh yeah, they're kind of similar. It's a little more cool toned. But this is the satin formula versus the suede one. So pretty. Then I have just one gloss from Mario, so we're gonna use it. I bought this when it launched. This is the Super Shine Lip Gloss in Rustic Pink, and I honestly cannot remember if I ever actually tried it out. So now's the time. We're gonna put this on top, focusing on the center of the lips. I'd say that's a great little lip combo we made. So pretty. Okay, we are going to assess the situation, my friends. I'm gonna take more of what's left on the bronzer brush and add even more bronzer, even though we have 5 formulas on today. I do feel like I'm really happy with where things are at though. I'm gonna kind of revisit the brows again. That's the only thing when you do your brows first. It's really helpful with like eyeshadow, but sometimes the definition can fade a bit. So I always like to kind of recheck the brows, and I'm using the Revive brow pencil just to make sure it looks really good. We are ready for some setting spray. So we're going to use this one from Makeup by Mario. And this is called the Surrealskin Setting Spray. And to be honest, I used this a couple times and then I just haven't. So I don't really feel like I have a full opinion on it yet. I feel very Mario-esque though today. All right, let's spritz the face. You know, the applicator on here is really nice. I like to go a little heavier with my setting sprays. Okay, and then once that's almost dried down, I always like to take my sponge and just press everything back into the skin. And I always like to do a smidge more powder after I set, just to really lock things in place in the areas that I know I don't want shine. And then we're going to take the Master Hold Brow Gel, which I love. I actually really love this. It's been a long time since I've used it though. And we're going to use that to set the brows. Okay, my friends, let's take the hair down. I really love how this look turned out. To me, it feels very glamorous, but again, still very natural, which I think fits just the overall aesthetic of Mario. I feel like everything looks really, really nice. I'm excited to see how things wear all together. So I'll be sure to put in like a little vlog at the very end of the day to show you guys how things are wearing. But as far as like product recommendations go, you really can't go wrong with any of the bronzer formulas. I feel like my most used though are this right here and the powder blurring one are the ones that I use the most. But also the sculpting stick. I use all the bronzers quite a bit. Another current fave for me is the foundation. I'll keep an eye on the concealer because I really don't know how I feel about the concealer. I love all of Mario's eye products. I feel like the mascara is actually really, really nice. I'm excited to see how it wears today. I feel like the only things that I wouldn't really recommend would be the brow pencil and then the highlighter because it's just too sparkly for me personally. Everything else is a dream, and I feel like his lip products are fabulous. Blush, like complexion things especially, really make me excited. But yeah, I really like how this look turned out. So let's jump into the vlog so we can see how things held up and how they look at the end of the day together, and then we'll close out the video. So let's jump into the future and see the vlog. Okay, this was not part of the original plan, but this is fresh after filming in natural light. I really just want to show you how good this makeup looks in natural light. I'm hopeful that it will all wear well together, but as I've been stepping into other lighting, I'm just loving how this is looking. Makeup by Mario, we should have known, but it's been a long time since I've done a glam like this, and I am loving it. All right, you guys, here I am 8 hours later for my little wear test check-in. I feel like, I mean, I haven't touched up, so normally I would definitely touch up the T-zone, but overall I really liked my makeup today. I feel like especially like on camera it looked extra good. That was just the kind of makeup that I did. I created a little bit more of a glamorous sculpted look, so I feel like on camera it looks really, really good. In person it also looks good. I feel like it got a little bit, not cakey, but just a little funny here because I didn't powder anything. But overall I feel like it wore well. My favorite part about the look would have to be the eyes. Like the sparkles were just phenomenal. I feel like the mascara wore pretty well as well. Also the blush. I am so excited to go back into this formula specifically, the Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil. This was so pretty, and it's been way too long since I've used these, so I'm definitely going to leave them on my desk and reincorporate them into my routine. But overall, I feel like everything worked well together. I definitely would have touched up already personally, but overall, I feel like this is a really, really nice brand, and it made me excited to revisit and reuse and reincorporate some of the Mario products that just kind of fell out of my routine. Specifically the blushes. I think they look so good. So hopefully this helps. And yeah, this is 8 hours of wearing a full face of Makeup by Mario. Not too shabby. Bye. All right, you guys, I hope this video was helpful to you. I hope it was inspiring to you. Maybe it gives you a better idea of what you'd like to try from the brand if you haven't yet, or a new way to use things that you already own from Makeup by Mario. I really, really love how this look turned out. It's very classic and it's very glamorous, and it feels good to have this much makeup on in a way. I really, really like it, actually. It's been a while since I've done layers and layers like this, but it felt very appropriate for this one brand tutorial. I would love to hear from you guys what other brands you'd like to see me do for one brand tutorials. I think it's just fun to see the end result and see what a brand is capable of, see what I feel like are their best and worst products. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with. So yeah, if you're new here, hi, my name is Allie. I would love for you to join the family. Please do so by hitting the subscribe button, and also be sure to click on the notification bell after you subscribe so you'll get notified every single time I upload a video. And yeah, that's it for me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I'll see you in my next video. Love you.